Hello guys, here I am again, and this time I want to share with you another part of our lifetime story. It's so interesting because sometimes it feels like that our life is like a big book that we have, and it is made out of many chapters, and you are writing this book, and if you let God to be part of this writing, that He writes the story with you of your life, then all these experiences, all the people that come into your life, all the problems, trials, and everything make you to the person that you are meant to be at the end of the book. And it's such an adventure and interesting what is happening, and you ask yourself, okay, what is this situation wants to teach me right now? Or why did I met this person? For what purpose? What will he teach me or she? And it's just an adventure all the time. You don't see life very simple anymore and nonsense, but you know that everything has its purpose, and everything will polish you and form you to the person that you need to be. So I want to share you this experience with you, which was not a nice experience that we went through, but I believe that it also had its part in our lifetime story to make us to the person that we are meant to be. And I can tell you that I learned a lot out of this, and if we want to learn, He puts us more often into situations that we can learn more and more. Well, I will start with the story. It was on the 4th of June that we got married, and the 8th of June we got married in Portugal, and we were here for our honeymoon some days later. And it was very, very hot in that time. It was 40 degrees outside. Some friends were giving us the option to be in a house at the lake, a very beautiful house, not so far from home. So we were spending our time there, and we had a really nice time for 3 days or 4 days, I don't remember exactly. And in that time, we were enjoying the lake and the view. It was in the midst of the forest, and on one Sabbath afternoon, we were sitting outside at the terrace, and we were talking with some friends when we realized that there were coming a lot of helicopters to the lake to get water and to go back to the fires. We heard a lot of alarms. In Portugal, when it's so hot, it's very normal that there are many fires running around, so the people are really used to have fires around, and it's not something bad because they know that the firefighters and helicopters have it under control all the time. So we were sitting in that terrace, and I saw that there were so many helicopters, and we were talking a little bit about the fires, and then I said, well, I will check where exactly the fires are located on the map, and I checked, and there were like 4 fires going around in this area. So I thought, okay, that's not a problem. The helicopters are running already, so it must be fine. Then it got very black. The whole sky got so black that the sun disappeared, and thought, okay, now it's getting really dark. Normally it's dark, but then it disappears. But this was going worse and worse and worse and darker, and then the night came, and at 9 o'clock at night, my mom appeared at the door, and I said, Mom, what are you doing here? And she was with her little car that she had, and the car was full with all our dogs that we had. It was 5 by that time, or 6 dogs, because we had puppies, and all the dogs were in the car. And my mom said, sweetheart, I just escaped the fire, and it was burning all around our house. I don't know if we will find our house tomorrow if we go back. And I said, what? Well, let us go back right now. Maybe we can be there with the water. And she said, okay, we can try. So we tried to drive there, and we came by the firefighter station, and there were like 50 cars of firefighters standing all there, and I told them, well, you know, our house is there and it's burning all around, and why are you standing here and not in action? And they said, well, we didn't get the commando yet. I said, but why not just jump into your car and drive there and do something? And they said, well, we can't, we just can't do that. And so I said, okay, let's go and drive, and the highway was closed up. The police said we can't drive through, so we tried another small way that we knew. So we drove halfway to the house, and on the way there was a big wall of fire, so we couldn't drive through anymore. We had to turn around, and while we were turning around, I saw down all the mountain down, and down there were living some friends of ours. There were like 4 houses, and everything was burning there, so you couldn't see anything but flames, and we were so worried because we didn't know if they could made it out. Nobody knew anything about the other person because there was no signals anymore. So we just turned the way back, and we went to that house where we were staying. And the next morning, at 8 in the morning, I said I have to go and check if the house is still standing. So I went with my husband, and we wanted to go through the highway, but the police was standing there and said, no, you can't go through there yet. And I said, well, but I have to go because our house is there. And they said, well, okay, you can go, but be really careful because there are big trees all over the place. And I said, okay, I will. And I drove through the highway, and it was really, really dangerous because there were so many trees, and some cars were trying to drive around there. So, yes, I arrived at our house, not really at our house because you couldn't drive there anymore because of the trees. They were falling over the streets. So we stopped on a point, and I walked down. Our mailbox was all burned up, and when I saw that, I thought, oh no, that doesn't look good. So I went further down, and then I saw that our house was completely gone. And I was looking at that place, and I couldn't believe, like, it seemed like a dream to me. It looked so dark, everything, the whole forest around our house was black, like in a horror movie, everything dead looking and smoky. Well, I went down all the way. I saw my sister's car in flames still, and the house was completely gone. So here I will show you some pictures of our house. Yeah, it was a wooden house, and the whole part, the upper part burned down, and just the stone part remained, but inside was everything melted. So you couldn't save anything from all the house. And yeah, that's what happened with our house. Everything was gone. So we lost all the material things. I lost all my wedding dresses, the wedding gifts, and some furnitures and working stuff like our cameras, computers, all these things. It wasn't very nice, and I broke down. My husband had to help me out because I just broke down. I couldn't stand anymore, and I started screaming and crying, and well, then we went away because what should we do there? And yeah, that was our experience in losing our house during our honeymoon. It was not a nice experience because we were staying at our friend's place. I didn't bring much clothing with me. I had almost no underwears and anything to have with me, and I felt like, okay, what do I do now? I don't have anything to get dressed or something, and it's then when our restoring happened. But I think I will make another video about that, so I will make maybe number 1 and number 2 so you can see it like a separate video because it's very interesting. I was very scared and crying and depressed like around 3 days until I realized, okay, it's gone now. What can I do? I can't change things. Everything is gone, but I have my life, and I have my mom's life, and I have my puppy's life. I can be thankful because in that fire, 118 people died on their ways, fleeing from their houses, and some died in their houses. And it was just the most scaring situation that ever existed. Nobody could stop that fire. And there were exactly 4 people from our friend group that lost their houses. The family that was down there that we saw that night lost their house too, but they had more houses, so just 2 of them burned down, but the other ones were saved. And the people had to jump into the river to save their lives. Their horses burned, everything burned around them, but they could save their lives because they jumped into the river. So that was the story of these people that we saw that night. And other people lost their houses, their cars. Others went to really strong experiences, like cars exploding beside you and you just drive through and nothing happens to you. And there were like really interesting experiences that everybody went through. It was like a job story because you lost everything, material. You didn't lose your children, you didn't lose friends, you didn't lose family, so it wasn't that bad. But after all this disaster, God came in and made something out of it. And this is what I will tell in the next video. So it's interesting because all these chapters in your book are there for something, and you don't know why it happened. Sometimes you will just know it in heaven, or you will know it later on. Maybe you will know it right away. There came many experiences with this experience that we went through, and maybe I will divide it a little bit. But if you like it, you can subscribe to see the next video also, and also to put thumbs up and share it with others if you liked it.